What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? I'm Guy Wozniak. You're watching the Comic Book Guy channel, and we are the Comic Book Guys. With me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Matt.
Hey.
And we are going to talk about a couple of new comics. Why don't you tell the people what we are up to today?
All right. Well, the first one we're going to talk about is the new Youngblood by Rob Liefeld.
Actually, it's Liefeld.
Liefeld?
I'm pretty sure it's Liefeld.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're going to look at the new Youngblood. Just picked this up. And, spoiler alert, I kind of liked it, and somebody else didn't.
Not so much.
And then we have another book that I think both of us liked that we're going to talk about. What do you think of...
this one, the Terminator Metal. I liked it. This was a lot of fun. This was a fun read.
Yeah, let's dive into Youngblood #1 first. This is a brand new title this month. We're not going to do like a full review because, I mean, how much can you really review one issue? But I'm going to pop it out of the bag and kind of thumb through it because I read it like a week ago and Matt's had it for this past week, and I don't want to forget anything that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I read through it, about a week ago. I read through it again last night.
Now, right off the bat, I did like it. And here's why I liked it. Not because it was a particularly fantastic comic book, but because it was very nostalgic for me. I grew up 1992 when 93 when Image became a thing. I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. That was like when I was introduced to comics for the first time. So this is very nostalgic for me. I read the original Spawn comics when they came out. Jim Lee's, what were we talking? That was Wildcats, right?
Yeah, Wildcats.
The original Rob Liefeld books. I was very much a big fan of New Mutants, the latter New Mutants with Cable and that team, Shatterstar and Domino. Very much a big fan of that. And then X-Force. So going back to this, it was like, oh, I'm 12 years old again. You know what I mean? It is a classic 90s comic. And some of these are your complaints, but some of them I liked in that it was not like heavy thinking. You know what I mean?
Definitely not.
Not a sophisticated read.
No.
Artwork is just, Rob Liefeld at his best, and some people think his best is kind of other people's worst. Some people don't like his artwork, but to me it just brought me right back. But yeah, I just liked that it was like a nostalgic revisiting of something from, what are we talking, basically 30 years ago. That's kind of how I felt about it. Not a super sophisticated story. I don't think it's going to win an Eisner Award or anything, but I like his style of art. I think that it's fun and dynamic, even if it is somewhat flawed from time to time. And this just brought me right back. On the other hand, you had some different feelings.
Yeah, I did not like the artwork one bit. I've never been a huge fan of how are we saying it? Liefeld?
I think it's Liefeld.
Liefeld? Okay. We'll go with that, sure. Never been a huge fan of Liefeld's artwork. I don't like the gigantic body and tiny face style.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of that. It's just kind of like, Uncanny Valley for me,
Sure.
And what I really didn't like is the almost total lack of backgrounds on everything.
See, that's one of the things that I do like. It reminds me, now, in the 90s, they started doing a lot of background work, but 60s and 70s, silver and bronze books, it was just like blue background, that's it. And the reason why I like that is it brings the character forward. It draws your eye to what is the most important thing. And I'll try to bring up some screenshots, but a lot of these panels that Matt's talking about, for sure, it's just like swirly, nothing.
There's no backgrounds.
Swirly nothingness and gradients and maybe just some colors.
And okay, they have like the boat, but this boat that they're on is completely nondescript.
Yeah.
Like the boat they're on, they show the side, it's just smooth gray. They got like the sides of this superstructure on the boat, smooth gray. There's no detail whatsoever. I mean, they got some pretty colors in the background. Okay, sure, but that's not detail by any means.
I mean, I like it. I think that it just puts the emphasis on the foreground, on the character. Now, I mean, so here's some of the flaws. This is, I wish the pages were numbered so we could refer to it. I'll try to bring in some screenshots after the fact. But you have this picture of Chapel holding this gun, and that looks more like a gun you would put a can of caulk in than it looks like an actual firearm. consistency
it doesn't look like a functional gun.
Right, there's some, I don't know, not consistency problems, but, well, there's consistency. You complained about something, but just like realism. Yeah, like the guns and the pouches and, I mean, this foot, for example. Yeah, it's not flawless. It's not like perfect anatomy and perfect structure and creation, but I still enjoy it. I like it. It's fun and it's dynamic.
Yeah, just this thing. Oh, okay, again, that's the complete lack of backgrounds. I'll leave that alone. But then also like this character Shaft. The inconsistencies on this character is just it was mind blowing to me. He's in one scene, he's got like 2 swords on his back.
Yep.
In another scene, he's got a quiver.
Yep.
In another scene, he's got a quiver and a sword. Then another scene, he's got nothing.
And you can see his back.
And then you can see his back, and there's nothing there. But then the next page, he's got a sword and his quiver back there. What? Dude, come on.
Now, I'm not saying that this is what it is. We were talking about this earlier, and I had said, like, I saw an interview with Todd McFarlane once, and somebody wrote into him after Spawn issue 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and they were like, hey, why was the pouch on the one leg, and then in the next frame it was on the next leg? And he was like, I can either accept that I made a mistake, or I can flip the script and I can say the costume was alive and it changed at will. Now,
maybe Shaft's costume is alive.
I mean, I'm not saying that is what's happening, but like there could be an explanation. Maybe between panels he dropped the bow and the quiver. I don't know.
And just some other things like, okay, again, this guy Shaft is in this fight with this guy. He's slashing him, constantly scratching at him with his claws or talons or whatever. And Shaft shows no damage whatsoever, no tearing.
He's like a little bit scuffed up there.
Or scratching on his costume. His face is perfectly clean. Like he's showing no signs of having been in a fight. And they are careful to explain that he is an unpowered human, so he has no healing factor or nothing like that. So again, I mean, it's just, to me, it's lazy.
I would wonder, and when we were talking about this earlier, I mentioned, like, are you expected to know the background? Like, this is obviously a new #1, but Youngblood was a comic back in, know, the 90s. Or are you expected to have previous knowledge and understanding of the Youngblood series and these characters? I mean, I know, like, Chapel, for example. Chapel was mentioned and used all throughout Image Comics. Badrock, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I didn't read every single Image comic. But my point is, like, is this brand new? Is this a complete, like, from zero reboot? Or is this a continuation of the older books? I'm not sure, and I didn't get a solid feeling or a solid explanation as to whether or not that was the case with this.
Well, I had never read Youngblood.
No, neither have I really. I might have read the first issue way back in the day, but
they
probably
did
don't remember.
Give you a little bit about each character.
Yeah.
And I would anticipate as the series goes on, they provide you more. Mm-hmm. That's what I would expect anyway. Sure. I didn't see this as like a continuation of, and maybe when the series ended back in the day, and this is going to make sense to people that read it before. But I think this would be a fine jumping on point if somebody was interested in reading this.
Well, that's actually a good point. Is like when I read this, I never truly felt lost. Where I did pick up, and I complained about this earlier, the new Transformers series, which, to be fair, is issue number 25, is where I jumped on. But I was very confused reading that.
Yeah.
But I never really felt confused with this too much.
Well, that's another gripe I have is the lack of story.
Well, yeah, there's not much going on.
There's not much going on. This guy's boat appears.
Yeah, let's jump into the story.
They get sent there, and he destroys 2 patrol boats that came out to investigate, and so then they send in this team. So yeah, the story is incredibly straightforward. There's not a lot of not a lot to it, and they just basically sent there, and they each have their tasks when they board this gigantic boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very thought-provoking, sophisticated story. It's just again, I say I hearken back to it's just a fun 90s style story where it's okay, there's this bad guy Xerxes. I remember him from back in the day. Mm-hmm. I know he existed before. He's got the gold armor and everything, and they don't really say why is his boat there? First of all, his boat looks like Jerry Jones's mega yacht. It doesn't look like any.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
But it's just like a gigantic mega yacht. It's not like a warship or anything. So
there's no cannons and missiles and stuff like that all over.
Yeah, so what's he doing there? That wasn't super clear, but I suppose that's going to get exposed or explained in the future. But yeah, so there's this boat and what's going on. They go and they get the call to go deal with it, I guess.
And they each have their own little task when they get there.
Yeah, exactly. Right, like one guy's got to go to the hull. He kept saying like, "Oh, I got to get to the hull."
Yeah, Chapel. He's like, "Oh, there's some kind of energy reading we're getting. I have to go to the hull. I'm going to investigate the hull. The hull."
You're not like some sort of nautical expert,
Yeah,
right?
I'm no, genius on, never in the Navy or anything. And I'm like, the hull? Is he talking about like the outside of the boat?
Yeah.
Then I'm like, maybe I'm being stupid. So I looked it up, and no, that is the hull. It's the outside of the boat. But he keeps saying he has to go to the hull. I'm like, well, dude, you can see it from the outside.
But
That's literally the hull.
But yeah, so they fly in on their little. I mean, it's essentially a Quinjet, or
That's what it looks like.
Right,
I used to love the old Quinjet.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know why they changed it.
But you get a little like intro of like each character. There's Die Hard, Bad Rock, Chapel, Shaft, and then Vogue, and she's basically Domino. All of the
Yeah, is somebody flying this? Because there's no controls in this ship whatsoever.
I think she's supposed to be flying it because she doesn't go to breach the boat or whatever. And they jump off. They get on the boat. They have a bunch of fights, and then at the very end,
that gun kills me. It's just like this long square. tube.
Yeah.
That's your okay.
Kind of towards the end, Shaft, the archer guy, gets in a fight with this villain, Vandal, which I don't recall him from previous issues from back in the day. But it seems to me like he was kind of like important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he talks in third person a lot.
And then they fight, and then Chapel at the very, very end gets to the quote unquote hull, and he's like, "Oh, what's this?" But kind of left you on a cliffhanger, so now we got to read issue 2 to find out what happens.
Yeah, what's he see?
And then I don't even know who this guy is, but
I think Supreme?
Yeah, it's like basically Image Superman shows up at the end, and he's like, I'm here to save the day.
He's got 2 other people with him.
Image Supergirl and Image Super Robin? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know who they are. But they're both flying.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a very basic story is the point of that long ramble. Not much happens, which is a complaint that we did the review of the Skinbreaker. Like, nothing happened for issue after issue. This is not as bad as that. I feel like you got a little bit more bang for your buck.
Yeah, you got a lot of fighting and stuff like that. I wasn't crazy about the artwork myself. But yeah, you're a big fan of the artwork. I'm not so much. It's not for me.
I enjoyed it just because it's nostalgic, and I've always liked Liefeld, and I liked his New Mutants, and I liked his X-Force. So to me, it was like a little mini time machine of like, hey, it's 1993 again.
Yeah,
and
they reboot Freak Force, I'm there. Or Super Patriot, because when Image came out, I was reading Super Patriot, Freak Force, Savage Dragon. Is Savage Dragon still going?
I don't know. Eric Larson?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know if Eric Larson's still drawing.
I dipped out like a long time ago on Savage Dragon, though.
Yeah.
And Spawn, of course.
I still buy Spawn. I got issue 370 or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have all of them. I have like a big chunk of the early ones and a big chunk of the later ones.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. But yeah, let's put a bow in this one. I'm going to say, check it out if you're a fan of the old school Image comics, because that's what this is. If you didn't like Image comics in, the beginning, you're probably not going to like this, but I felt really nostalgic checking it out.
Well, there were some Image comics that weren't for everybody.
Sure.
Like, I didn't read all the Image comics. Some were for me, some were not. I'm sure you were the same way. Like, did you ever read Freak Force?
Never read Freak Force, no.
Yeah, see, I enjoyed it. Guy didn't even know it existed.
What about, you remember, was it Wetworks? You remember Wetworks?
Oh, yeah, I never read that.
No, I remember, there were some action figures for it. I read a couple of the early issues, maybe. It's been so long, but
yeah,
for the most part, when it came to Image, I was just Spawn, and that's it for me. But this is cool.
Not a recommend for me, but I was never really a big fan in the first place. To each his own.
Well, all right, let's jump into this one, and I think this one we both are pretty enthusiastic about.
Yeah, it was a fun little read.
It is Terminator Metal, and I was talking about this book a couple weeks, maybe a month ago, and how I was excited to get a new Terminator book because I haven't read like an old. I used to love the old Dark Horse, like Terminator, Aliens, Predators, all of those franchises. So yeah, when this came out, I was excited to check it out, and it did not disappoint. But you give yours first, since I started with the. Well,
first off, it's got a Layton cover, Bob Layton cover, which I'm a huge Bob Layton fan.
This is cover B, I think. The A cover, I bought A and B. I got B for Matt because I know he's a Layton fan.
Yep.
This is the better of the two covers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm a huge Bob Layton fan. I got a bunch of art from him. Very nice guy. He'll sit there and just talk your ear off. Really knowledgeable, and he'll talk to you about like Marvel back in the day, what it was like working there. Really fun to talk to. But yeah, this book, I really enjoyed reading it. It's a standalone issue. And I didn't know this going in. I read afterwards, after reading the story, because I wasn't sure if this was going to be an ongoing story. But apparently each one's going to be a standalone story. It's, written and drawn by the same artist and writer, according to the article I read about it. So yeah, in this issue, it's just a one team, and all it is just these humans fighting, Skynet, of course, and they encounter, Terminators and stuff. And they actually have a Terminator they've captured and reprogrammed. Like it's like a T-800 series,
like the Schwarzenegger Terminator.
Yeah, basically
but just metal.
The metal robot, skeleton looking.
Endoskeleton. What do they refer to him as? I forget now. It's either endo or exoskeleton.
Oh, I forget.
Speaking of Terminators, if I ever win the lottery, I'm gonna get a full size Terminator.
2 of them, dude. You gotta be on both sides of the doorway to your house.
For real.
Yeah. But yeah, and they reprogrammed him to serve them. And, hilarity ensues.
They encounter some other, I hesitate to use the word survivors because they're all kind of
like different teams of their militia or, whatever army or organization they have. They're all like interconnected and stuff.
But they freak out. They're like, why do you got this Terminator with you?
Yeah. And other people know about it already. They're like, oh, he captured it. They reprogrammed it, blah, blah, blah.
The main character guy. He was kind of like this computer science dude.
Percy. Yeah.
Percy, right. And he was like, I reprogrammed this thing. It's fine. He's our friend now. And he treats the Terminator like they're buddies.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
And the Terminator is helpful. He does help them with their mission and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He helps try to guide them and he warns them of danger and things like that. So he's clearly, it's working. But then, some things go awry, of course, and they encounter other Terminators, and people get taken out, people get wounded and stuff. And of course, the Terminator, he didn't program him just right, because
he was programmed super efficiently.
Yes,
he was evaluating everything, and he's like,
too efficiently.
Yeah, you're not going to live. Bye.
Yeah. So yeah, if somebody became injured and would slow them from completing their mission, he was just fine discarding them and leaving them where they lay.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the guy, Percy, who is the guy that pre-programmed him and his partner pretty much, he gets wounded as too. And so the Terminator's like, okay, well, I'm going to continue the mission. Bye.
When that happened, I kind of saw it coming because they sort of did the same thing with the other 2 guys that got wounded, and he's like, they'll slow us down by 27%. We can't blah 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 whatever. The Terminator is being all logical and not like evil, just like, hey, we got to finish the mission. We can't finish the mission and drag this wounded person behind us. You're like, okay, I kind of see what's coming here, But Percy gets wounded, and the Terminator's like, mission failure percentage 12% if we wind up helping, or if I stop and help you. So I'm out, and the Terminator just starts walking, and Percy's like, no,
to continue the mission.
How could you do this to me? I thought we were friends, and it's like you're never friends with a Terminator. Is the the moral of the story.
He's purely logical. Clearly, he wasn't aware of Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
He was not aware of that and didn't program him that way.
Art-wise, creative team, I don't think I ever heard of any of these, and I don't even remember their names. I apologize. We've got Delkin Shalvey.
Declan Shalvey, yeah, I've heard of him, sure.
And Rory McConville as the writers, so 2 writers on this one. Mm-hmm. And then the artist was Lorenzo Ray. R.E. I assume that's Ray. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never heard of either of these guys, but I liked the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork was very noir. If I can in the future Skynet world, it worked. Very dark, very gritty. These kind of
remind me of the Mignola Hellboy sort of style, I don't know, very kind of graphic and chunky.
Everything looks really dirty and beat up and destroyed, and these soldiers, they look like they've just been through hell and back, and the Terminators are drawn really well. I really like that. I mean, not like,
it's not photorealistic.
Yeah, it's not photorealistic by any means, but it's really gritty, and I think it presents the world of the Terminators perfectly.
Yeah, the art's great. The story, now, Matt had mentioned, and I didn't know either, he looked it up. This is going to be sort of like an anthology style comic series where like every issue should have its own complete little like start, middle, and ending. And I love that. I am so sick and tired of new comics that give you a little teeny nugget every issue, and it's like, now I got to wait a month to see if anything's going to happen. And then, of course, nothing happens in the next issue either. And by the time you get any idea of what happened, they've spread it out across 6 or 8 or, God forbid, 12 issues.
12 issues. And
before you're given a story.
To tell one story, that's just so aggravating.
This gives you, like, the beginning, the middle, the end, a roller coaster ride of a climax, and it does it in 22 pages or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and what I really hope it's going to be an anthology series, different story. What I really hope is the characters they introduce kind of appear in other issues later down the road.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I love when they do that stuff. Like, I want to see this Tex Terminator again, the reprogrammed. I want to see him again.
Well, yeah, we didn't mention that. So the Terminator that they're walking around with that's reprogrammed, the Percy character named him, calls him Tex. Yeah. And I think at one point the other two guys are like, why are you naming this thing or whatever?
Yeah.
But he's distinct. He's got this like red little like slash like emblem across his face. He's got
like this like a torn cloak he's wearing.
Yeah.
And he's got this red paint going over one eye. He's got a distinct look. I assume that's so they can, pick him out in a crowd.
Differentiate him from the others,
But yeah, I would love to say, 4 or 5 issues, we got a story following another group of soldiers or survivors, and Tex makes an appearance. That'd be cool. I love when they do stuff like that. And I really hope they do that in this book. But I'm definitely going to keep reading this. So,
I mean, there you go. We got 2 new comics. They both came out in, I guess, October or November. What month are we in right now? We're November, right? Yeah, both are new for November. And I got to say, I liked them both. I liked the Terminator a little bit more than I liked Youngblood, but I enjoyed the Youngblood. And I say pick them both up if you were a fan of, the Youngblood or the older Image comics to begin with back in the day. And if you like Terminator at all, or just good stories, pick that one up too.
I recommend going to your local comic shop, eyeing both of these. If it's for you, then pick them up. Absolutely. But yeah, I really recommend the Terminator. Youngblood, not so much.
Before we go, here, what's your over-under if you had to pick a number, 50%, 100%? How will this make it past like 10 issues, or is it going to get discontinued in 10 issues? What's your guess?
What, the Terminator book?
Yeah.
I don't know. Dynamite seems to take more of a gamble on their books and are willing to wait and see, if they really do kick in, and if they really seem to get people's attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dynamite seems to be doing to more take a risk on making books of her a lot longer, just waiting for the interest to hit.
I hope that it sticks around because another thing I'm tired of is 8 issues, 12 issues, 20 issues, whatever the case may be. Yeah. We're gonna discontinue it. And I mean, if you're lucky, and I use the term lucky loosely, maybe they'll reboot it with another issue like Daredevil, right? I actually didn't get on the new Daredevil series. I think it's at issue 25 right now. Yeah. They're rebooting it in January or February.
Recently they have started. I think a last batch of a bunch of Marvel books didn't even make it to issue 10, or maybe issue 10, and they're rebooting them already.
I mean, that's awful.
That's terrible. And I don't think Dynamite does that. They seem to keep going with their titles, which I certainly hope they keep going with this one, the Terminator book.
I get a few of their books. I get DuckTales for my wife. That's on issue 11. I read it too, but my wife loves the old Disney afternoon stuff. And that's on issue 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. So, if DuckTales can make a go at it, maybe Terminator can too.
Yeah, I hope they keep it up. Yeah, well done, writer and artist team. Solid work.
Yep. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for today. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Let us know down in the comments. Have you guys read either of these books, or are there any other new books that you have read in the last couple of months?
What are you reading? Let us know.
I can always use the recommendations.
Sure.
But yeah, we're going to wrap this one up for today. I will say thanks again for tuning in. As always, we greatly appreciate it. And keep collecting comics, keep watching our videos, and until the next one, bye now.